You know, the Central Asian countries have long ties with Russia. It is the key trade partner, and it takes time to diversify the sources of investment and income. To address this issue, you said in Kazakhstan that partner countries of Russia that suffered economically as a result of the sanctions would receive certain compensations. Could you please elaborate a bit on that?
Well, first, it's important to understand that countries in Central Asia and people in Central Asia have suffered more than most from the consequences of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, its aggression against Ukraine, starting with the fact that President Putin has used energy as a weapon and he's used food as a weapon in denying energy to countries that opposed his aggression against Ukraine. That caused prices to go up for everyone, including in Central Asia, despite the energy wealth of some countries. And we've worked very hard to make sure that there was enough energy on world markets to keep prices down so people wouldn't be affected. Second, food. Putin's also weaponized food. Ukraine is one of the major providers of grain to the world. The Russian invasion blocked Ukraine from exporting its own grain to the rest of the world because they seized the port of Odessa and they blocked grain from going out. The United Nations, Turkey came together to help establish a grain corridor, and now as a result of that, grain is getting out, and that means that prices are lower for everyone. So that's benefited people here, but this is all the result of the Russian aggression. We didn't, with sanctions, dozens of countries around the world are imposing sanctions on Russia because of its aggression. Not because we decided one day, oh, wouldn't it be nice to put sanctions on Russia, but because they invaded another country, they threatened its territorial integrity, its independence, and its sovereignty, and it was important for countries around the world to stand up against that. And I think in Central Asia, people understand deeply why it's important to protect the principle of sovereignty, of independence, of territorial integrity. And one way that we stand up against it is by trying to impose some costs on Russia for the aggression in the hopes that it will get it to stop, to change its mind, to end the aggression, to end the war that it started. So it's also true that there are second and third order consequences for companies or countries that may be engaged in business with Russia that is now prohibited by the sanctions. And there we've tried to work closely with countries, including in Central Asia, to help them understand exactly what's required and what's not required, to make sure that precisely for the reasons you say, sometimes you have a long-standing business relationship and it takes time to end that relationship. So we're giving time to companies to do that as necessary, what we call a wind-down period. And there's some cases where we're providing licenses to continue the business despite the sanctions.